0.7 of a volt, creating electricity from a magnetically levitated flywheel.
Watching something spin with very little friction can be quite satisfying. One can pick up a small spinning top, twist it, and it will spin for over 5 minutes by hand. Now imagine increasing the weight of that spinning top. With greater mass, it should spin for much longer. But there is a catch. Increasing weight also increases the friction at the contact point between the top and the surface beneath it. So the maker decided to try something different, a magnetically levitated flywheel. Permanent magnets have 2 poles, usually labeled north and south. When a north pole is close to a south pole, they attract. When the same poles face each other, the magnets repel. It is this repulsion force he used to levitate the flywheel. To support the magnets, he built a frame using aluminium extrusions. These extrusions are convenient because they attach easily with small brackets, almost like a Meccano kit. On this frame, he mounted the magnets, bolted down the brackets, and arranged everything so the magnets could hold the axle. For the magnets to levitate the axle, he arranged them with like poles facing each other in the correct orientation. If you've ever tried to balance one magnet on top of another, you'll know it's almost impossible. If the levitating magnet shifts even slightly, the repelling poles push it further to one side. Meanwhile, the 2 magnets start pulling or pushing in unwanted ways until they collapse together. That instability is due to the nature of static magnet repulsion. To solve this, he gave the shaft a small bias towards the left and added a smooth plate to prevent it from moving further. This constraint meant the axle acted like a horizontal spinning top. The magnets took the full weight of the flywheel. There was very little friction on the left side because it largely floated, just like a lightweight spinning top. This method of levitation was inspired by a commercially available small toilet motor assembly he bought. It had a shaft through the center and 2 sets of magnets. The shaft was constrained by a glass plate on one side. If he removed the glass plate and tried balancing the shaft, it would fall. He realized that even a tiny stabilizer plate offering minimal friction was enough to maintain levitation. For the flywheel itself, he chose aluminium for 2 reasons. First, aluminium is easier to machine than steel on his grandfather's lathe. Second, and more importantly, aluminium is non-magnetic, so it would not interfere with the magnet levitation. Even though it was aluminium, the flywheel still weighed about 1.4 kilograms, which should provide plenty of inertia. And so the magnetically levitated flywheel was born. When spinning, it looked quite wobbly at first. That wobble came from several issues. The initial build used a threaded shaft as the axle, so that magnet positions and the flywheel position could be adjusted. But after buying several threaded shafts, he discovered all were slightly bent. He then switched to steel shafts, which seemed straighter. However, during assembly, he heated the flywheel to fit the shaft through the center hole and accidentally bent the shaft again. He now couldn't get the flywheel off the shaft, so he balanced it as best he could with tape and washers. With that, it would happily spin for about 12 minutes. But he had another idea. What if he could extract energy from the flywheel to power something? Because the axle is magnetically levitated, he wanted to extract energy without making physical contact. He needed a method of transferring energy through magnetic induction. If you hold a magnet near a wire, nothing happens. But if you rotate the magnet, the changing magnetic field induces a current in the wire. That is the basis of how a generator works, Faraday's law of induction. Unfortunately, he couldn't use the spinning magnets used for levitation because their poles ran axially along the shaft, so as they spun, the magnetic field did not change relative to the coil. He then built a separate rotor that mounts on the same axle as the flywheel. This rotor holds a set of magnets oriented with opposing poles facing up, that is, one magnet's north pole up, the next magnet's south pole up, and so on. To generate electricity, he wound wire into a coil and placed it nearby. As the magnets rotate and their north-south orientation sweeps past the coil, the magnetic field between magnet and coil changes. One magnet will induce current in the upward direction, and the next will induce current in the downward direction. Because of the alternating pole orientation, the current alternates direction in the coil as the rotor spins. An alternating current, AC, is created. He has essentially built an alternator. There was one issue. The efficiency of the alternator depends on how close the magnets are to the coil. The nearer the magnets, the stronger the field the coil sees, the more electricity you get. In conventional alternators, the magnets run extremely close to the coils, thanks to precision bearings. But in this magnetically levitated setup, the shaft isn't perfectly precise and may wobble. If the magnets get too close, they risk colliding with the coils. To overcome this, he added a second rotor of magnets on the other side of the coil. This doubles the magnetic field through the coil, giving a stronger field even though there is a larger gap. With this dual rotor arrangement, he allowed plenty of space for shaft wobble while recovering more energy. Next, wind coils. He created a 3D printed template to wind the wire neatly for the alternator's coil. He also needed to convert the alternating current into direct current, DC, if he wanted to power something like a light bulb or motor. That conversion requires diodes. Diodes act like one-way valves for electricity. Current can flow in one direction, but not the other. By arranging 4 diodes in a so-called full-bridge rectifier arrangement, he built a circuit that takes the alternating current from the coil and outputs a DC current to the load. Here's how the rectifier works. All diodes are oriented so that current flows downward through them. If the alternator coil produces a current in the clockwise direction, it flows down through one diode through the load, for example, an LED, then through another diode back to the coil. If the coil produces current in the anti-clockwise direction, the rectifier routes it through a different diagonal set of diodes so the current through the load is still in the same direction. In short, no matter what direction the AC takes, the output through the load is always in the same direction. The load sees DC. He hooked one coil up to the full bridge rectifier, added a capacitor to smooth the voltage, and connected a multimeter to measure the output. He mounted the flywheel and observed the voltage output. At first, he got only about 0.7 V, simply by spinning the flywheel by hand. A small figure, but it proved the concept. Electricity from a magnetically levitated flywheel. Then he wound 4 more coils and connected them in series. A serial connection means voltages add, so 4 coils in series should give nearly 4 times the voltage. With help from an electric drill to spin the flywheel faster, he got higher voltage, but the drill made it less of a toy. He wanted a desk toy that he could spin by hand and which could power something meaningful at low RPM. To raise the voltage without increasing the RPM, he rewound all the coils with much thinner wire. Thinner wire lets you fit more turns into the coil, increasing the induced voltage for the same magnetic flux change. Then, he built a new full-bridge rectifier using smaller diodes, lower drop, and larger capacitors, better smoothing. The result? Now he could get nearly 10 volts by hand-spinning the flywheel. With that voltage, he set up some LEDs. He had many red LEDs, low power, and connected them to the DC output. He spun the flywheel, and the red LEDs glowed, even at low RPM. Then he tried more. 2 LEDs, 3, 4, up to 10. When he closed the room curtains so the camera could pick them up, 10 red LEDs glowed from the hand-spun levitated flywheel. Next, he tried white LEDs, which require higher voltage. They lit too, with ease. He connected 4, 6, 8, and 10 white LEDs. Even as though the flywheel was slowing, with a gentle spin, it powered 10 white LEDs. So satisfying, he said. He then attempted a small electric motor. He unplugged the LEDs and connected the motor to the DC output. He spun the flywheel with 2 hands, rested the setup on mats to reduce frame wobble, charged the capacitor first, and then let the motor engage. The motor spun. He commented that it felt like an electronic gearbox. Finally, he made a comparison. He showed the original flywheel alternator setup, and then an augmented reality version of it generated on the website Thangs, which offered 3D models for the aluminium extrusions and other parts. He thanked Thangs for sponsoring the video, asked viewers for likes and subscribes, and gave a shout out to his supporters on Patreon. In short, with clever magnet arrangement, coil winding, rectifier design, and straightforward mechanical build, the maker created a magnetically levitated flywheel that spins for long periods, generates electricity through induction, and powers LEDs and a motor, all while essentially making a satisfying desk toy.